The bulldozers did not wait for the sunrise. Nairobi County enforcement action against the riparian encroachment at Gikomba traced its legal foundation back to May 2024, when the Interior Ministry issued a sweeping national directive ordering the removal of all structured illegal builds on designated river reserved land across Nairobi and other flood-prone urban centers in the country. The directive identified rivers corridor as a critical drainage infrastructure and placed the enforcement burden squarely on county governments. Nairobi administration acknowledged the order but deferred physical implementation through a series of inspection and plan consultation that extended deep into the 2025 without resulting in demolition at Gikomba. The agency shifted earlier in 2026 following a devastating flooding season. Nairobi recorded 37 fatalities, the highest of any county, as swollen rivers burst through informal settlements and commercial areas built along their banks. More than 100 people died across the country in the flood that exposed the consequences of decades of unregulated riparian encroachment. The disaster provided both the political justification and the administrative pressure that had previously been absent from the country's enforcement calendar. Nairobi City Council served a formal 14-day demolition notice on February 19, 2026, citing encroachment on a mandatory 30 meters riparian reserved along the Nairobi River. The notice covered residential and commercial structures across Gikomba, Shauri Moyo, Kamukunji, and adjacent county settlements. The county official maintained that all structures within a specific buffer zone were subject to removal regardless of their age, function, or ownership history. Over 3,000 residents and traders received notice to vacate before the deadline expire. A coalition of affected traders moved to the Environmental and Land Court before the notice could lapse. 4 petitioners filed an urgent application on behalf of the affected community, arguing that the blanket application of the 30 meters boundary lacked the hydrological study and the cadastral survey, and the environmental impact assessment required legally justified the precise demarcation. The petitioners also raised a selective enforcement argument, pointing out that similar constructed developments on the opposite bank remain untouched. They further submitted that many affected plot owners had received formal land allocation from the defunct Nairobi City Council as far back as 2002 and had consistently paid rents and statutory rates since that time. Justice Lilian Kimani certified the petition urgent on March 4th and directed that the existing status quo be maintained pending a full inter-party hearings. The order temporarily halted county enforcement and offered traders a relief. Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino, whose legal team had supported the traders' court action, publicly welcomed the ruling and called on authorities to respect the court's direction. Traders staged a visible protest on March 17 when a multi-agency government team arrived at the market to survey a proposed decanting site intended to temporarily host displaced vendors. The standoff between traders and officials intensified when the county administration announced it had widened the enforcement boundary from 30 meters to 50 meters, a revision that significantly expanded the number of stalls subject to clearance. Traders challenged both the revised boundary and the adequacy of the proposed location site. The Nairobi governor, Johnson Sakaja, responded to the growing resistance on March 19 during a separate demolition inspection exercise in Westlands. Speaking to the press near Westgate Shopping Mall, where the county machinery cleared riparian structures in a commercial zone, Sakaja confirmed that Gikomba operation would proceed as planned. He stated that a section of traders had already begun voluntarily relocating and characterized those who remained as being held back by political actors, inciting non-compliance rather than a genuine grievances. He confirmed the deadline for full vacation of the demarked zone as the end of March. Nairobi Rivers Commissioner Mumo Musuva confirmed on 19th March that a multi-agency clearance operation was simultaneously underway along major Nairobi River corridors stretching from Kabete Dam through City Park to Mathare River. Joint teams were dredging blocked channels, removing debris, and reclaiming encroached sections to restore natural drainage capacity ahead of the next heavy rains.